Jermell Charlo talks about moving back down after the Canelo fight to face Terence Crawford. That's what I want to talk about in this video. What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. It is fight week. Canelo payday. You want payday? I know that. Versus Jermell Charlo. And Jermell Charlo's moving up a lot of weight, 14 pounds. From the eye test, he looks in shape and whatnot, but he's moving up a lot of weight to fight Canelo Alvarez. They just did the press conference, and this is how Charlo is looking. Now, immediately after the press conference, they talked to Jermell Charlo regarding a possible fight with Canelo, because he says, although this fight is at 168 pounds with Canelo Alvarez, that it doesn't have to guarantee that he stays up there, right? So he also talked about traveling back to 154 pounds. So we'll have to see. And then the question came from a boxing reporter, what about fighting Terence Crawford at 154 pounds? And he basically, recentered it and said, he looking in shape right there. He basically said his focus is on Canelo Alvarez. He got to get past square business, and then he'll take it one step at a time and see what weight. But basically, it's something that he's open to. So I want to give my thoughts. Me, I'm just being real. I don't like to waste time. I don't like to beat around the bush. I don't like it. I don't like it for a couple reasons. For one, I'm not big on like the weight class hopping and stuff. I think we got influencers boxing and YouTubers boxing and all this kind of stuff. So it's gotten to the point where people know that certain fights or two big names can potentially demand a high payday. So it's like people are trying to get paid and they're doing these risks that just, to me, it just doesn't make sense. You know what I mean? So Crawford moving up 3 weight classes without testing the water at 54, without doing anything at 60, without having any experience at 68. I'm really not a fan of it. I'm just being honest with you. And that's just my honest opinion, because is that Mark Wahlberg? And he got Mark Wahlberg in the comment section. Okay. Hey, Mark Wahlberg left 3 comments. And it's his real page too, because it's verified. Yeah, shout out to the boy Mark. Man, she fine. Let's get it. So, yeah, I'm not a big fan of the weight class hopping and jumping. I think it's a disrespect to the weight class. You got guys like Demetrius Andrade, he's been trying to get a Canelo fight, but Canelo wants to fight somebody 14 pounds lighter. That's why Jermell Charlo's getting it. So why would Charlo, let's say if Charlo loses, why would Crawford get a crack at Canelo? And he hasn't done anything at 54, 60, or 68. So I'm not really a big fan of that. The other thing that I don't really particularly like is, just from what I've witnessed in boxing, I don't think it makes sense to bulk up and get swole and pack on extra muscle just to have to turn around and lose it. Now, I get it that Charlo's not necessarily going to stay up at 168 pounds, but to fight a crafty elite fighter like Terence Crawford and go from one extreme to the next doesn't really make sense to me. Canelo on paper is a tough fight, and you're bulking up. You can see from this video, he's adding weight only to have to cut back down to try to fight Crawford. I think that would give Crawford kind of an unfair advantage. You know what I mean? I think look, I even put this 8 weeks ago. I said bulking up nicely, So he's doing all this and putting on size and putting on muscle to tear that muscle down and fight Crawford at 54. So I don't really like the conversation and the talk about him fighting at 54. I think I learned from Roy Jones. I think that's a clutch and prime example of this, where Roy Jones Jr., he moved up to fight John Ruiz at heavyweight, and then he rapidly tore that muscle down that he had just gained to go to heavyweight, and all this size that he had packed on. And then he fought Antonio Tarver, in a rematch. The first fight with Tarver was already difficult and he barely won it. And then he did the rematch, and that was 2 divisions lighter than heavyweight. And then Roy Jones got knocked out. And I don't think he was ever exactly the same. He lost his next fight after that Tarver fight. I don't know. I don't really see the vision there. And then finally, the thing that doesn't make sense about this Crawford versus the Canelo or Charlo winner is exactly what I told you. They confirmed it on Fight Week. Charlo and Canelo, it is now confirmed that particular fight has a rematch clause. So what does that mean to Boxingego? If there's a rematch clause, that means A, Charlo upsets Canelo and beats Canelo, then Canelo is likely going to exercise that rematch clause because Canelo's a competitor and he's not going to, the fact that a smaller guy moved up in weight and beat him. So he's going to, and it's a lot of money. There would be a lot of money in that rematch, and he owes PBC 2 more fights. So with that being said, Canelo would likely rematch Charlo. But in the event that Canelo beats Charlo, then why do I want to see Canelo and Charlo fight? Canelo beat Charlo, and then Charlo coming off of a loss where he's no longer undisputed because the WBO already announced that they're stripping him of a title the night of the Canelo fight. Why would I want to see him jump back down in order to fight against Terence Crawford at 54? He'd be coming directly off a loss. Doesn't really make sense. Now, Errol Spence, he too is coming off a loss, but that's different because that's a rematch clause. And Crawford is the guy that beat him. But if Canelo beats Jermell, then why do I want to see Crawford fight a guy off of a loss? Even though they had the bad blood and, you know, there's been some back and forth talk and banter and stuff like that. So we'll see how it all plays out. But for me, I'm not really a fan of all this Terence Crawford versus the winner of this fight talk. I know Shakur Stevenson said the winner should fight him, but I think there's steps, and I think it's like a ladder or a line, and I think there's other people that have been in line trying to get the same type of Canelo work and the Canelo fight. That's why Canelo was like, payday, saying that Andre wants a payday. So I don't see how you can come from the welterweight division. Canelo already said that he won't get credit for beating Crawford. So I don't really see how beating Errol Spence and coming from the welterweight division earns you a shot at the winner of this particular fight. And then as far as Charlo, should he beat Canelo this weekend, then he'll be in the same position as Canelo Alvarez, or excuse me, as Terence Crawford, but with a harder pass. He'll be a 2X undisputed. And the reason I say harder path is because his path to get to undisputed at 54, to me, is harder than Crawford's path to get to undisputed at both 40 and 47. Crawford only had to fight one guy at 47 because he had done all the hard work and the heavy lifting. That was Errol Spence. So he had to basically do good on one night. Crawford, he just showed up on the given night, 36 minutes or less, and then he performed. And it also looked like something was up with Errol Spence. You just have to perform on one night versus Jermell Charlo. He had to perform day in and day out against Brian Castano. Then they had a draw, so he had to go back and correct that and then knock out Brian Castano. He had to beat Jason Rosario, who had just beat Julian J. Rock Williams. He had to, so these are several different nights and different cards that Jermell Charlo had to shine to earn his 154. Now, Canelo has all the belts, so it is one guy that he has to fight in order to get a belt at super middleweight. But this is also Canelo, who's unbeaten at this weight class, and Jermell Charlo is moving up 14 pounds. All things considered, if Jermell's able to beat Canelo with all these disadvantages, I'm going to value that more than Crawford, his 2X run. Even though he's the first person in history to have done it, all undisputeds are not made equally. I firmly believe that. In a way, it's the same thing. In a way, fought a guy named Butler to get the last belt. That's not the same as beating Canelo or somebody like that. You know what I mean? Let me know how I did in this video. Drop your thoughts in the comment section. Subscribe to the channel for more boxing. I will be back. We're doing the watch party this weekend. YouTube will now show you some videos I've done, so make sure you get caught up with all your boxing news. And I'm out. Introducing Super Thanks. Right here on the official Boxingego YouTube. Super Thanks allows you, the viewers, to show a little bit of extra gratitude, which enables me as a full-time content creator to push out the content you need in the world of boxing. Underneath all the videos, you will see a heart with the $sign in it. You can enter any amount that you find suitable as a super thanks. A brand new interactive and colorful way to get your comments highlighted and noticed by not only myself, but other people on the YouTube platform. Super thanks, a unique and cool way to show and applaud us full-time content creators. Hopefully you guys enjoy the content. Super thanks. The future is now. The Hibernation 5s by Kenichi Bear. Hybrid gaming and lifestyle headphones. Out of the box, you can connect to any console or PC. Bluetooth ready with a low latency USB adapter, color RGB, and extreme bass mode. The Hibernation 5s adjust to you. Whether you need a gaming, travel, gym, or lifestyle headphones, the Hibernations got you covered. The new Hibernation 5s, link in the description. Customize the way you hear the world. Welcome to the nation. Are you tired of your YouTube videos not getting any views? Consider TubeBuddy. I've used TubeBuddy for years to scale up my YouTube channel. Now we're sitting over 200,000 subscribers. TubeBuddy is a browser extension that offers a ton of built-in productivity and time-saving services to take your channel to the next level. Use my link in the description to get started with TubeBuddy and level up your channel faster. We work.